better now. People believing in what I can do for the state, knowing my record in office, and probably has something to do with the fact that people think I'm going to win, and that other time they didn't. So that has something to do with it too, I'm sure.
Can you comment on all the brouhaha over election stuff that's going on, and what role the Attorney General's office is going to play in that after this election?
Referring to the Acorn
Yes.
investigations. If there is voter fraud or voter registration fraud, it should be pursued and it should be prosecuted. And there's just, no tolerance for that. The voting system has to be pure and clean as we can, and people have to have confidence in it. There are investigations ongoing on that, and I have confidence in the officials involved to conduct investigations fairly and comprehensively. I'm not looking to grandstand on that issue, but if the Attorney General's office can be helpful, obviously I wouldn't be there even if I'm elected until probably late November, but if we can be helpful in any way, we will be. Beyond that, I do think it's a good thing in this state that we now have something like 94% or so of eligible voters are now registered to vote. So there's been a lot of good work done in voter registration. I'm sure there's been some bad work done as well. And we're now expecting apparently 80% of the voters may go to vote this year with the early voting and the convenience of absentee voting. I think that's a good thing for democracy. And, it gives us comfort to know that a broader cross-section of the public will pass judgment on us and make your case to them.
So you've been treasurer for 2 years. So why are you running for Attorney General then?
I didn't.
Did your work complete in the treasurer's office, or?
I didn't expect to be doing this. I mean, nobody expected to have a race this year. None of the candidates in the race expected to be candidates, and now we are. When this came up, the governor asked me to consider running. Thought I would be a strong candidate with my background as an attorney. I did run for the office 10 years ago. I know it's a terrific office that has great capacity to affect the lives of families in Ohio. I had mixed feelings, frankly, because I enjoyed and continue to enjoy the work I'm doing as treasurer. It's not been the easiest time to do that job, frankly, because of the markets. But I do feel that we have put that office on track, and that work can and will continue. The Attorney General, as I said before, has the ability to work on many of the same issues I've worked on as treasurer, financial security issues, as I call them, for Ohioans, and I think that can be very effective on those issues. I also think, and this wasn't part of my rationale at the beginning of the campaign, but things evolve and events change, as will happen in the Attorney General's office. There will be issues that will rise in that office that we don't anticipate today, that a month from now or 6 months from now or a year from now will become dominant issues. The mess that we've seen created on Wall Street begs for an Attorney General to stand up for Ohioans and sort through it in a very measured way, to the extent that there's been corporate misconduct or fraud about the nature of investments that people in the state made, or misleading representations of what was on their books and not on their books. I think there's probably a 2 or 3 year job now to go through that and see where people need to be called to account, and make sure that, for everybody in Ohio who's losing their home, maybe losing their job, or certainly has been losing a big chunk of their life savings, their retirement savings, we need to make sure that if there are problems that led to that we need to make those right as best we can. And I think my background as treasurer may be uniquely suited to that in this particular moment. Might not have been as well suited in other years, but I think it may be here. So,
now, assuming if you would win the election, would your successor in the treasurer's office be appointed by?
The Constitution would says that appointment would be made by the governor. I have asked if, I'm not presuming anything, never presume anything. Been through a lot of elections, and sometimes they went well and sometimes they didn't. So I think that's good for you if you don't quit, and I haven't quit. But ultimately that will be his decision. My confidence is that he makes good decisions about personnel, I think, generally. And he knows, as I do, it's important to have a capable person in the office.
Have you made a recommendation? Do you have somebody
I have not, because there are probably 20 hopefuls around the state who have talked to me over the course of the last few months because they seem to think I'm going to win, and I always say, I don't necessarily think I'm going to win. I need to go out and win. I said, if you are interested in being the next treasurer, help me get elected. Otherwise, I'll be the next treasurer. So I have not, the governor and his top staff have a wonderful way, I've found, of not borrowing problems from tomorrow to today. So I'm sure that they've done some thinking about it, but they know that when the election occurs on November 4th, we'll then know for sure, and there will be at least several weeks before the votes are certified to think about that. And I don't believe that they have made any decisions. They did say that, the governor did say that I would have input into that. But you know, I can't really speak for them, but that's my sense of where it is, and I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on doing the treasurer's job and, as I can, campaigning to win this election.
I was listening to the opponent on the radio yesterday when I was driving somewhere. He was being interviewed.